One of the questions that I commonly get asked by new Java developers and even experienced developers who are moving to Java from a dynamically typed language like Python or JavaScript is, how do you convert a string to a long in Java? Or for that matter, how do you convert a string to an int in Java? It's not that hard. The hardest part is just picking which one of the three options to choose. And to be honest with you, it's not that difficult a decision. The long class has a method called parseLong, which takes a string, which has to be numeric, and it returns the primitive type of type long. That's the one you want to use. There's also a valueOf method that takes a string that's numeric and will return a long as well, but it returns the uppercase L long, the wrapper class, and it's the one with the gold chains and the pants that run low. If you need the wrapper class, then that's the method to use. There's also the constructor. You can pass a numeric string to a constructor or wrapper class, but that's deprecated, so you don't really want to use that one at all. So for my money, it's the parseLong method. Hi, I'm Cameron McKenzie. I'm the editor-in-chief over at theserverside.com, and I wrote an article about how to convert a string to a long, and I wanted to follow it up with just a video that explains how to do that and shows you how to do that conversion in a couple of little examples. And that is what I'm going to do next. One of the things that we love about the Java programming language is that it's statically typed, which means if a variable is declared of a certain type, it remains that type forever. You can see we've got a variable here called John's. It's of type string. It's initialized to the number 200, but that 200 is in double quotes, which actually means it's a text string. So what would we do if we wanted to use that text string, that 200, as a number? Well, some people might be tempted to declare a variable of type int or long. We've got long time here, and then say time equals John's, and hopefully, that new variable gets initialized to that value. But if you were to do that, you'd be in a world of hurt in Java. I'm just going to run that program there, and you'll see that little error message that says incompatible types Java string cannot be converted to long, time equals John's. Doesn't like that at all. So how do we take this string here and convert it into a long? Well, what you do is you use the wrapper class. And so the wrapper class for the lowercase l long is uppercase L long. And you just say long.parseLong and pass in that string. And when you do that, that string is going to be turned into a long. That then initializes that long variable. And then we can use it to try and print out that long. So I'll click run right here, and boom, all of a sudden we've got the conversion done. Now, again, it does have to be numeric. So if I came in here and said 200x and clicked run, again, I'd be in a world of hurt. I'd end up getting that NumberFormatException because 200x isn't a number. So that is a little bit of a requirement that 200 does have to be another. I'll run that and make sure that runs, get rid of that ugly exception. Now, there's actually a couple of other ways to convert a string to a long in Java. One of them is to use not the parseLong method, but the valueOf method. So I'm going to try that right here, long.valueOf. See if that runs. So run, and boom, it works. Now you might be wondering, now, why do we actually have two methods that do that? Well, the interesting thing about this is this actually returns an uppercase long. So it actually returns the wrapper class, not the primitive class. So sometimes if you're using collection classes, you might need the wrapper class, not the primitive type. So you can see, there you go, that works. Now, previous to Java 5, we didn't have something called auto boxing. So if you tried to initialize an uppercase L to the value of a lowercase L long, you would end up getting an error, but we don't have to worry about that right now. Now, again, the final way to do that is to use a constructor. So you could say integer I equals new integer, and then pass the string into the constructor. That's deprecated, so I'm not even going to demonstrate it. So just stay away from that completely. Now, how would you use this in an application? Well, I've got a little application here. This is actually a number guesser game that Darcy DeClute, Scrumptious on Twitter, did for the server side. It's a simple little program that runs a number guessing game. But as you can see, it takes input from the scanner as an int. right? So what if we wanted to grab that input as a long, or grab that input as a string and then convert it to a long? How would we do that? Well, I'm just going to comment out that call to the scanner there. We don't need that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the information from the user, string input equals javax.swing dot, what is it, J option pane dot, what is it, show input dialog, and say guess a number. Now the problem is, if I try and do that and then try and convert that string into a number, because we're trying to guess a number here, so the guess equals input, well, again, we're in a world of hurt. And if we go over here and take a look at that error message, can you see that error message there? Can you see the red X? Because if you can't see the red X, you got to get your eyes checked, because that's actually a white X in a red circle. But it says type mismatch, cannot convert from string to long. It's actually one of the reasons why we love statically typed languages. We get this information at design time, not runtime. But we know the trick, right? So it's just a matter of saying long.valueOf. Was it value of that we did? No, we don't want value of. We want parse long. Right? And we take a look there, you can see parse long. It's going to return the lowercase l long. We click Control S. We now have the guess.long.parseLong. Error there. What's it saying? It's not a valuable for the value. Oh, sorry, because it's not the guess. It's actually the input that we want to parse. So the guess is equal to long.parseLong. That takes that text string, that turns it into a number. And now this little application that we built a little while ago should run. And in this case, it runs with the conversion from a string to a long. So let's run this. The program runs. It says guess a number. I'm going to guess the number 5. It says 5 is too low. I'm going to guess the number 9. It says 9 is too high. I just happen to know the magic number. It's 7. And there we go. It says 7 is correct. And so there you go. That's just a little Java application. It's, a simple application of the need to convert from a string to a long, or a string to an int or integer in your Java program. So there you go. That's how easy it is. Now, by the way, if you enjoyed that tutorial, why don't you head over to the serverside.com. We've got lots of great tutorials on Java, on Python, on DevOps, on Agile, on Scrum. If you're interested in my personal antics, you can always follow me on Twitter at CameronMCNZ. And I would also say, I'm doing a lot of work in the arena of Mojo these days. It's a new programming language that is ready to take on and tackle Python. If you're a Java developer, it looks a lot like Java in a lot of ways. So we're going to need some Java developers to teach those young Python developers how to write proper Mojo code. So if you're interested in that, you're interested in getting ahead of the AI revolution and the ML revolution and staying ahead of the latest trends, please sign up for my newsletter, because we're going to be talking a lot about Mojo. And as I said, we're going to need some Java developers to lead the way in the AI and ML space. And otherwise, if you're watching this video on YouTube, the last thing that I would ask is that you subscribe on YouTube.